But I always look at this and think, okay, what if it was me? And I would hope that it wasn't. But we've got to be honest with ourselves. We hope lots of things. We hope, none of us will ever be poor or homeless or sick or get beat up or get yelled at. There's all kinds of things we hope won't happen. And in fact, sometimes it does. Sometimes of your own stupid decisions and sometimes bad luck, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So when I look at this and I'm trying to work my way through the consequences, intended and otherwise, of what's being done in this Act, I'm struggling because I think there's more here than meets the eye. There's the version that the minister puts out that this is about looking after victims. Good, excellent. That it's about punishing bad guys. Okay. But part of what we've always done in our legal system in Canada is make darn sure that we punish the right bad guy and not the wrong person. And even trying to do that in a fairly stellar way, I think, in Canada, particularly compared to our neighbours to the south, we've still made some monumental mistakes. And so I think we always have to be very cautious about where we give power or forfeit power around the law. You've got to be careful about this stuff. Because if you hand over your ability to be a free person to someone else and they make a decision that they're going to lock you up, you're kind of hooped. You agreed that that they had the power to do that, and now they can do it to you. So is that really what you intended? Let me back up a bit here. I remember once there was a debate on gun legislation here. And people kept getting up and saying, my kid was just doing this, and, he got picked up and he got fined or charged with something. And I kept thinking, yeah, and they broke the law, so what is the problem? But we need to be careful that we're not judge, jury, and jailer before the fact. And I often hear people in here make the same mistake, where they talk about people in the remand centre as being inmates or convicts or crooks or criminals in some way, and in fact that's wrong. People are in the remand centre because usually they don't have an address. So they don't get released on their own recognizance, and they are kept there so the courts know where to find them. And some of them are truly heinous people. They're gang members and murderers and other people. But there's also a fair number of them that are mentally ill or homeless or very poor and don't have the resources. So they don't have an address to give, and guess what happens? The rule is give an address where they can find you or spend time in the remand centre. So I have constituents that end up in the remand centre, and they're not crooks, criminals, convicts, or bad guys. And they are certainly not inmates, which indicates that they have been charged and convicted of a crime. They haven't been. So we have to be very cautious about casting people or even creating a situation where that can happen to people. I'm really looking for the double checks that need to be in place here. And as I said, this moving from a court-based system with all of the protections and double checks that are inherent in that system and moving to an administrative tribunal is a different thing.